I'm a scorned fanboy for the X-Men. I'm a fanboy of Tom Taylor, but I never liked Jean Grey. Any of them. So can the one true Taylor give me the X-book I feel I deserve? Who knows? But this is X-Men Red, #1. Written by Tom Taylor, art by Mahmoud Asrar, and colors by Ives Forcina. I am so sorry for mispronouncing any of those names. Taylor, Tyler, Talor. I always make what I say before the title, before I actually read the book, and honestly, I don't have any words right now. No, actually, I have a lot of words, but frankly, I don't know where to start. If you want to know whether or not to buy this, you truly, truly should. I wasn't even thinking about this book until I saw that Tom Taylor was writing it, so I had to give it a go. It shouldn't be the best. It was wave 3 off the Resurrection line of X comics? It's starring a newly resurrected Jean Grey, and honestly, there's no reason this book should be worth every cent of every variant cover. It is a collected verdict, so go out and get it. Get it digitally to read right now. Go to your local comic shop to get it then, and make sure to collect every variation thereupon. Now, I'm going to be taking off my reviewer status for a moment, even if I never get enough views to be considered a blip on the reviewer radar, and I'm sorry that this is going to be a bit of a long one. I learned to read off comic books. More specifically, early to mid-80s X-Men books were one of the books that I read while growing up on base housing and run-down trailer parks. These comics shaped my core beliefs as much as the world around me ever could. That is why I'm overly critical of Marvel Comics, and more specifically the handling of the X-Men property. The 90s hurt me as an idea of them as an allegory fell apart to make more explosions and time-travel BS. It's why I loved Messiah Complex, the Exodus comics, but frankly, it's why over the last 4 or 5 years, I've become numb. I did like Hopeless's All New All Different comics, especially how it handled my favorite mutant Cyclops. I liked Blue and Gold and Prime as best as I could, but my problem with it on a personal level was that the X-Men were relegated to either quippy fight scenes or to be kicked around because, hey, Marvel citizens are the dickiest people on the planet. I'm not saying those are bad. Those reviews are up on this channel and fairly positive. But this comic made me feel like I was 8 again, reading God Loves Man Kills for the first time. The world is not a wholly black and white place. Evils don't come at it just, let's throw a shoe at them in public kind of way. And no, there's no hugely evil religious figure damning the mutants in this with the crowds ready to lynch them at a moment's notice. This book is actually the antithesis of God Loves Man Kills. There is no one person to be assigned all the hate and anger that Jean sees in the world. She sees the world as divided, angry, and broken, because that is what we are. And unlike other comics, this isn't about blame. This isn't about making an analogy towards a specific group of people who you dislike, with only turning them up to an 11, so they're too over the top to make an actual comparison to. This is about moving forward. Jean isn't trying to go after anti-mutant groups, which this could easily have tried doing. This is about healing. This book is about trying to come together, rather than dividing people up into the us or them category. And I hate the fact that I already know a couple channels on YouTube that are going to call this SJW crap because it's not a violent comic book. Not in the sense that, while spoilers, Cassandra Nova is back and bitchier than ever, which made me go squee, this book doesn't have a fight scene in it. The 2 action scenes that are here are at the very beginning. First with Jean Grey rescuing a mutant from an angry mob of people. Hey, I said the book reminded me of classic X-Men, and without at least one torch-wielding angry mob, it wouldn't be. And another where Wolverine and Honey Badger get their butts kicked by a crying baby. But they aren't fight scenes. The first one has Jean coming in using a shield to block bullets, and then they bamf out of there. And the crying child, acting as probably the best metaphor for most people on Twitter, are soothed to sleep by a redhead. I'm trying to make jokes, but honestly, you can laugh at how emotionally I took reading this comic. I got misty-eyed at the end. I've seen my favorite characters die. I've seen my favorite mutant turn insane thanks to bad writing. I've seen the X-Men property burn down again and again, Marvel unsure of what to do with them. But it has been so long since I've been able to truly embrace, an X-book for not just reminding me why I read comics, but I imagine, or I pray, that there's a child out there who saw this and picked it up. Maybe it's a redhead who saw this and saw that a red-headed girl was leading the team. Maybe it's someone who loved Gabby and Laura and all new X-Men and picked this up. Maybe it's even just on a stack of comics that some dad bought their kid because it's their birthday next week. Yes, I'm picking up an issue of this for my son who's turning 4 next week. Technically in 5 days. You can actually see him piecing together the Lego Bat Dune buggy all by himself on my Twitter. Will he like the book? I honestly don't know. I mean, I never truly thought of the message of the X-Men when I was his age, even when confronted with it myself. So I feel that this is the book that's going to last. Something that I always complain about when I do these Marvels things is either it feels like they're going for insta sales, they're going for way too now, so there's no tomorrow with them pretty much. And this is kind of timeless. But that story may not have truly gotten through to me to actually make me feel like I was a kid again if it wasn't for this art. Right off the bat, the art feels like a blend of the old school and the new. The art style is very much my personal favorite style, a rough but not sloppy look that is truly my favorite modern style, but at the same time, there's scenes that the colors and line work are so reminiscent from the style that I grew up with, and truthfully, it makes the book look timeless as well. It's simple, but nowhere close to lazy, and the merger of artist and colors is just brilliant. There's not a sour panel in this, and considering I'm generally looking at this on a bit of a zoom on Comixology, that's a hell of a feat. So yes, I know I didn't make this a neutral look on a consumer level like I usually do, but this comic shifted my views of the X-Men finally. It moved me on a fanboy level out of the scorned zone. That should make Tom Taylor the damn messiah. But that's the rub. Go and buy this. Don't torrent it or read it online free. Marvel needs to see that progress through healing is a more profitable message than going over the top. But I'm trying not to make this too political, so buy it because you see Wolverine smother a baby. Sure, I'll end this on a really out of context panel. If you agree with my fanboyism, or if you disagree and felt that this was more Marvel tripe, let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, also suggest what you'd like to see on the first series of shows, be it comic, manga, or webcomic. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and please consider pledging to our Patreon. It helps the channel out immensely. And as always, I'm the Comic Archivist. Stay golden, Inklings!